Welcome back to a very All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a very special Backlash episode of the BCP. I don't know how special it is, but I'm excited to be talking to you guys about it. Right now, you guys are listening to Metalingus, of course, the cover of Edge's theme by my good friends at Liz Freeze. Guys, thanks as always for letting me use your tunage. Check them out, a little shameless promo here on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff. And guys, let's get right to it, just like WWE did, and talk about this Backlash pay-per-view. Welcoming to the show the Good Brothers and making his return, long-awaited return to the show. You're either Widdis or you're not. I ruined it, man. You're either Widdis or you're against us. And please welcome back to the show, the Anti-Smark, Mr. Matt Widdis. What's up, bro? How are you?
Hey, yo, let's go. Glad to be the bad guy for a good reason. And that was right up with a Biff Tannen from Back to the Future. Make like a tree and get out of here. That's
Yeah, I botched it, man. I botched it coming out the gate. I'm like,
it still works. Grammatically, it works, yeah. Rob. You're fine.
That's right. We keep it real here. You know,
could have no-sold that. You would have been fine. Yeah,
just got to go to the next move. All right. And of course, always happy to welcome back the goodest brother, hashtag you know why, the editor-in-chief of the popbreak.com. Late champion, Mr. Bill Bodkin. What's up, bro? How are you?
Oh, man, I can't wait to talk about Adam Cole and FTR and New Japan coming back. Dude, MLW, DAZN. It's going to be an awesome podcast today. Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind. Sorry.
I mean, you joke, Bill. You joke. But look, like we keep it very positive here. We always try, but we've been all over the place these past couple months. We've been diving into topics all over the place. We've been keeping it very, very real. I'm not excited about this pay-per-view. I'm just going to put it that way. I'm not trying to knock anyone, any of the talent, any of the writers or anything going. But I look at this card.
I mean, and I'm saying, you could knock some of the writers.
Well, I mean, yeah. Do you want to open with that, Bill? A little bit of news going on. I don't know if in a way it's kind of them waving the white flag with just kind of this lack of interest in as far as I'm concerned, in the product. Tell us what you saw on Twitter a couple hours ago.
I just meant to make fun of Vince McMahon. But anyway, so yeah, it was just announced. So we're recording this like 8:45 on Thursday. I almost said Friday, but time is a flat circle, as Matthew McConaughey once said. It was just announced today that a few hours ago that the creative team in WWE is being consolidated, that Bruce Pritchard will be head of both Raw and SmackDown creative. Paul Heyman will be now focused on his in-ring role. So look for that big time 24/7 title run from Paul Heyman. It was ironic because one of our Pop Break editors sent me a LinkedIn job for the head writer of SmackDown. He's like, you should apply for this. I'm like, wildly underqualified, but thank you. So yeah, that job.
Anybody else?
It's very true. It's very yeah. I got nothing after that, I guess. But yeah, so the Raw and SmackDown creative teams have been combined into one. Sure, why not? I don't know why, but yeah, we have this pay-per-view. I feel like if they had given it another week, I guess they didn't want to run into Father's Day, but I think that's 2 weeks away. I don't know. Yeah. Again, math is not my strong point. You could have waited another week or two to build this up, but we're here, so I guess we got to do it.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. And again, like we talked about it before we went on the air, like it's a different time right now. We all know that, this bizarre world that we live in, this new normal, whatever you want to call it. And we always talk on the show about how, we don't like to pit all these companies against each other, but we kind of have to at this point. We talked about Double or Nothing. There's a lot more enthusiasm going into that. Even in NXT in your house, a lot more enthusiasm going into that. I look at this card and I mean, even just the matchups themselves, I'm not interested in the styles of the matchups, the number one contenders in certain matches, the build leading up to this. I didn't see, we talked about earlier off air, I'm looking for Seth versus Alistair, a match that I was excited for. We've seen it already, but on this grand stage here, and I don't see that officially, so maybe that is on the card and I just don't see it. But again, a little underwhelmed here. We'll see what they do with it. Hopefully they have some tricks up their sleeve. But as always, let's get into it.
There's a big reason for that, because I mean, Matt, I'm sure you agree, is that Double or Nothing, there's 4 big pay-per-views a year for AEW, and NXT is maybe 6, maybe a little bit more.
6.
I mean, but NXT is under the WWE banner. I mean, we went from, Money in the Bank to NXT to Backlash. It's just a lot of content that's on top of each other, and there's not a lot of room to develop like good storyline. And I almost feel like WWE right now would be a little smarter to just maybe chop a pay-per-view off before SummerSlam and do some bigger storytelling, because it's like right now it's just like it's you're burning people out and you're reusing people, and it's like for like 3 weeks we had Ricochet and Cedric Alexander hot and heavy in the tag team division, and now I don't know where they've been for the last month or two. It's just like there's not a lot of consistency.
No, that's never been their strong point over the last couple of years. Is all right. What kind of build we got? They're building for cards in 2 or 3 weeks that we're used to. At least from back in our day, watch them do it over the span of 3 months, 2 to 3 months, where they're chasing each other back and forth, but they're not actually touching. Now they're in the ring with each other every week, and then why do I care about the pay-per-view? Now it counts. In the last 3 times it didn't count. It's just generic. Any 2 people on a card. Yeah. I mean, there's no catharsis, there's no payoff, there's no build.
Yeah, and in NXT, if we just want to keep it WWE centric, I should say, we were talking last week. There was a build for a lot of this stuff. There was a payoff for a lot of that. Like there was the catharsis. To do it. Yeah, and they can do that in WWE, but they're just racing to just put out more content constantly.
Yeah, I mean, you guys ain't wrong, and I'm glad we addressed it coming out of the gate. We always keep it very positive. We're thankful that we have some wrestling to watch and some entertainment to watch, especially in this lack of sports world we're living in right now. Unless you guys want to talk about golf, that's coming back strong right now. I don't know a lot about golf, so let's dive into the pay-per-view card here. As always, we start with ladies first here on the BCP. Let's start with the Raw Women's Championship match. Of course, we have the champ Asuka versus Nia Jax. Well, Bill fell asleep, so we'll throw it over to the man. This is going to be a rough one. I'm not trying to
put some blood in the brain.
This is
Go ahead, bro.
Wow. Prediction-wise, I see this getting put on Nia.
Okay.
I do. Yeah. I see it getting put on Nia because there's some some mental gymnastics going on under the tinfoil hat here.
It's like some Simone Biles shit going on there, because that's high level gymnastics.
And again, people lament that she's always at the forefront, she's always at the at the top. If they're gonna end up throwing this to Charlotte again in the next couple of months, then who do they think they're gonna get a more positive reaction out of? Her beating Asuka or her beating Nia, who a lot of the fans have soured on for a multitude of reasons. It's that sort of, I'm trying to get into the thought process of the creative team. One member in particular, I think we were going to see that earlier. Goldberg ends up with the title. Why? Because whoever takes it off of him, or actually taking it off of him, would have probably gotten Roman less blowback from some of the fans. It's the same idea kind of recycled. I think we've noticed over the last 40 years, if Vince has an idea, he's going to keep going after it over and over and over again until he feels he can make it happen. Ask Paul Burchill.
Oh, deep cut.
Yeah.
Remember him and his weird sister? That was an angle.
Which was supposed to be Ken Shamrock until Ken Shamrock said, "What, Rob? I'm Ken fucking Shamrock. I'm not doing this."
And that was years later, too.
Yes.
Yikes.
Go ahead, Bill. Your thoughts, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's very conceivable for them to put it on Nia Jax. However, like, at the same time, like, I watched Raw, and they really hid every mention of Nia Jax until the very, very end of that show. I think with just the sheer amount of time she's injured Kairi Sane, that might have changed direction for them. I also think the Becky Lynch announcement may have changed stuff, because I would not have been shocked if you had seen Nia been the next challenger for Becky and then she takes it off Becky. But I think it's going to be Charlotte. It's going to be Asuka who's going to win, and Charlotte will win at SummerSlam, because that's become the hot feud that you can keep going back to, because there's a lot of stuff where I think just as Asuka's never beat Charlotte, so here's this big feud. I think Charlotte's going to move away from NXT. I think you'll see a number one contender match in there between her and Rhea Ripley, so when we have that pre-SummerSlam takeover, it's going to be Rhea and Io Shirai straight up. So I think it's going to be Asuka beats Nia Jax, and then we move on to, because I think it'd be too quick to bounce it off of Asuka, she's been the MVP of WWE during the whole pandemic. She has really flourished more than 90% of the roster, because she's just taken on this gonzo personality that people just love, and she's a highlight of the show. And I think to take it off of her right now would really kneecap one of their hotter commodities, whereas Nia is like, they've done this where they're like, it seems like she's in it, and then she just loses. I'm not a Nia Jax fan, mostly because of the injury stuff and a lot of other reasons. But just the fact I still don't think she's 100% there in the ring. So I think it's going to stick on Asuka, and we eventually get a program where it's going to be Charlotte and Asuka at SummerSlam. Because I think there's more money in that than in Nia and Charlotte right now.
Very well said. And I wish I have to upgrade to that